YouTube, what is up? Today we are talking about Masters Bangkok. It starts in a couple of days. I'm going to do Pickems. I got my top 15, and you guys in the comments can tell me why I'm wrong. Basically, is how it's going to go. Let's start with G2 Trace, and we have, or I say we, I have, if I can find traces. There we go. We have the maps, right? The breakdown of where I believe their maps are at the moment. Every team right now can change probably two. I would say that the Chinese teams might have had time to change like 3, 4. So I'm expecting the Chinese teams to have some curveballs and probably clean up some of their map pool. But when I look at this, I pretty much think the Trace, I kind of wrote it here, they can get Lotus and Bind. If they can get Lotus and Bind, they can win. The issue with that is they the G2 like to ban Bind. So they're only going to probably get Lotus, first pick Lotus, and I think their Lotus is pretty much on par, both in the A for G2 as well. So just purely because of map pool, I'm going to go for G2. The way that I see Trace winning this is curveballs. They've had 3, kind of 4 weeks to be able to practice and change stuff up since we last saw them play. Actually, it is literally 3 weeks. And I think that they would have to come in and maybe have like a good Haven or Split and then pick one of those and then win Lotus as well. So if they do that, then they've done great. And so I do think if they spend their time well, they can win this. But just map-wise, I got to go with G2. I think they're looking incredible at the moment. And they're one of my teams that are going through the Swiss stage. So we'll lock them in here. And then we got EDG against Liquid. So let's get both of them up so you can look at it. And Liquid's map pool is a little bit rough. They're in trouble. They are in trouble because, in my opinion, they got 3 maps that they kind of need to change. Their Lotus was a one and done, and their Pearl is looking rough, and their Fracture is looking a little bit rough as well. But I think maybe you could try and fast fix the Fracture and just have a pretty good Pearl or Lotus comp, and then permaban the other. That's where I'm viewing it. So you would like probably focus on Lotus and then permaban Pearl, something like this, and then try and fast fix your Fracture. Because again, you have about 10 days since they last played, and they're traveling and they're doing media. So realistically, they're gonna have like 3, 4 practice days. So in that time, I think they can change this up, but I think long-term map pool wise, this is gonna hurt them. EDG, dude, solid map pool. I have got them S here for Haven, and it might have been a little bit too extreme because obviously the players and the teams they played against aren't maybe on the same level that Liquid have been playing. So I actually think that this Haven matchup should be like a 50-50, roughly where we're going. And the split is going to be close as well. The big thing for Liquid that is rough here is the Abyss is going to get banned out, and that, in my opinion, is Liquid's best map. So when I look at this, I should be going for EDG, but I do think the thing that Liquid have going for them is they might get their 3... They have like 4 good maps, right? In my opinion, they have Abyss, Split, Haven, and Bind. And I think if they get any of those 4 in there, I think they might be good to win the best of 3. And I think they're probably going to have Split, Haven, and Bind. Because I just can't see that EDG doesn't pick Haven. If EDG is smart, it's 3rd map. Because I don't think Liquid would ban it. And then EDG would probably win. But the problem is they've been struggling on Lotus a bit. I put it in B, but maybe it would be like a B-, because I think they're like 3 losses out of 4 times playing. So I think if they actually like picked Lotus here, I think then they have a good chance to win. So with this said, I'm going to back Liquid just for the, if they have these 4 in the pool, I think that they can win. So that's kind of where I'm at. I did a breakdown here of what I thought it would be. So minus Abyss, this would be EDG, obviously. Liquid minus Pearl, because the Lotus of EDG isn't that good, so they wouldn't pick it. And then Haven is what I'm guessing EDG will pick, even though I think they own it if they have Haven and like float it for 3rd map. And then Split is going to be Liquid's map. And then in my mind, this is 2 50-50 maps that Liquid can win. And then Fracture or Bind, depending on where EDG view it. And we might get a curveball from Liquid, changing up their fracture, and I think their bind's all right. So that's pretty much where I view it. I think this is a 50-50 game, but I am just going to go with Liquid just because I've seen more of them, so I have more confidence in them being consistent, and the fact that I do think the EDG's comps are a little bit outdated. They also have the curveball of 3 weeks to change stuff, but I am still going to back Liquid on this one just because I think they got Haven, they got Split, they might have Bind in there as well. Then we've got Team Vitality against T1, so we're looking at these map pools, and it's looking, dude, Vitality have a lot of good maps from what I can tell as well. And when I kind of go head to head here, I don't think the T1 have an advantage on many maps apart from maybe Lotus. That's where I'm viewing it at the moment. So I do think that T1 have a good chance on Lotus, but at the same time, I think it's a 50-50. And then every other map, really, I pretty much have Vitality coming out on top. Maybe Split would be close. Maybe Lotus. I think T1 can probably win if they get Lotus and Split. And maybe Fracture. Yeah, I imagine Lotus to get picked. And then, well, let's actually look what I put. I had minus Pearl for Vitality, minus Abyss for T1, plus Haven for Vitality, Lotus for T1, take away Split, and then Fracture or Bind. I do think if T1 gets Fracture as third map, they have a pretty good chance. That's like their best chance. They secure Lotus and they win Fracture. But yeah, everything else feels a little bit rough for T1 when I look at this. So I'm gonna back Vitality, but again, teams have two, maybe 1 to 3 curveballs. I would say the Chinese teams have like 3 curveballs, and maybe one of the curveballs is going to come out here. Maybe they got a new Haven comp or something like that for T1. So there is still a good chance of Vitality, but I do feel so confident that I'm going to lock them in as well for going into the top 4. Then we got DRX Sentinels, and this one is an absolute banger, especially when we look at the maps. So there is a good chance here that when we look at this, that if Sentinels have a chance to own it, because they could float the Haven, and I don't think DRX's Haven is that good, which means that they could actually get rid of Abyss, because they're going to lose Abyss, basically is where I'm at. Because they had the anti of G2, which made their Abyss look a little bit good, but it was just pure hard anti. It wouldn't work the same against DRX's comp, and I think DRX is the best Abyss comp at the moment, closely followed by Liquid. So I think if Sentinels are smart here and they actually have a curveball, like I said earlier, and they focus their curveball being on Haven, and they get their Haven to an okay level, like a B tier, because it didn't look too bad against G2. You just bump that up to a B tier, then the Haven's pretty on par, and I think you would have a better chance of winning Haven than they would Abyss. So I'm excited to see if Sentinels go for a curveball here. I think that they have a chance to own them if they decided to practice Haven a little bit in the 10-day period. And then everything else is like relatively close. This is where I have it going down. The thing to notice here is, or note here even, is A tier, split. I'm so sure this is going Split right now. Like the way that I have this is minus Haven, but again, they could minus Abyss and float Abyss, and this could potentially be Haven, which would be awesome for them. I think they'd have a much better chance. But most likely, Haven goes out, and then it's either minus Lotus or Pearl for DRX, and then Sentinels will pick whichever one remains. And then we have Abyss, which we've already spoken about, should be DRX's map. And then we should get Split third map. I think these teams both like Split. So I think it will go Split, and it's gonna be a banger, maybe. That's where we're at. Every time we have high expectations, sometimes it's not a banger. With this, dude, I think this game's gonna be super close. I can see both these teams taking it, but I'm gonna back Sentinels just purely because of the fact that I think they can curveball this, and I think that the curveball would be, I think the curveball of floating Haven and practicing Haven could be pretty good. I think they can get their Haven to a decent level after what I saw, but it depends if they want to go that heavy into it. If Abyss is there, I think it's still a 50-50, and it will come down to Split. But I think with the curveball potential, I would go for Sentinels. I will say something about DRX at the moment is I think they probably have the best Teo usage and maybe have some of the best like micro stuff for the Teo at the moment. Like I think they have a really good understanding, and there's a couple of teams here that aren't used to playing against the Teo that much. But the good thing for Sentinels is like these are the two teams that use Teo the most, so it really is going to be interesting to see like how used to it and how they try and counter the Teo stuff. With that being said, I'm probably going to back Sentinels to take this as well. I'm more just on I'm on the train that what they did against G2 when they played Abyss and they managed to just fully turn around their Abyss by having one anti and having Theory and then executing the Theory with like solid play and kind of countering the chamber. I think that was so impressive, in a tournament like this, that's huge. And then I need to decide, so that's my 4 here, but as you can see I didn't click Liquid because I don't think their map was good enough. And then I'm torn between these two, and I don't know if I should be backing EDG or if I should be backing DRX. And I think map pool wise, I should probably be going for DRX, but can you ever count EDG out? Because just individually they're incredible and they've had enough time off. But I also don't think they play much against DRX like comps. So they might struggle if we actually did get this matchup. I'm going to go with EDG, I think. I don't know, dude. I might back DRX. I'm going to back DRX, and the Chinese teams are going to prove me wrong probably like for the 10th time that they've done this throughout the whole time of watching Valorant. My reason for going for DRX here is just I think that the comps are better for DRX. I think they've been looking good. And then I think the thing that I worry about EDG is I don't think they're up to champs form from what I saw. I think they're relying heavily on individuals, more so than they have in the past. And I think their comps are so outdated that, I mean, they'll probably change it up within the 3 weeks, you would imagine. But I think I'm just going to back... Yeah, I'm just going to lock it in. I'm just going to back DRX on this. I'm very tempted to pick EDG. T1 at the moment, I don't think they look good enough as a unit. I think individuals are bailing them out, and I don't think their comps are fully down. And I've lost a little bit of hope in them just because of how they're like when their original plan goes wrong, they look a little bit lost. I feel like. Let's lock in DRX. I think. I'm not 100% sure. Let's lock in the bottom one, and then. I'm taking a bit of a risk on Sentinels as well. I think we go for DRX here. Yeah, I'm so fine for EDG to prove me wrong. Dude, I swear, if you looked at my top 10 list, top 15, I should be picking EDG. Wait, let's go with that. Let's go with EDG in the end. Just because of my top 10, I'm rating too many. Nah, okay. I'm so torn between these two. I honestly don't know. Actually, no, let's go for experience over the new kids. Let's do that. But in terms of like macro and everyone, how everyone's playing the game at the moment, I think DRX should be winning this, but I'll just go with the individuals. And we'll see if the new kids from DRX can keep up their consistency. All right, that's where we're at with this. And then, oh my goodness. Let's go to the top 15. And I'll break down my top 15. Number 1, I have Durka. Number 2, I have Kang. Number 3, I have Zekken. And I know a lot of people, you're going to be questioning this, but I'm based a lot of my stuff off of like past performance, to be honest. I know that he's playing a lot of Euro. I know that it is a lot of him sometimes having to fully send it. But I still see like the original skill, and I still have just years of him being one of the best duelists that I have to put him in the top 3. I feel, again, I don't think he is hitting the levels that we've seen him before, but I just don't think I can doubt him. Then we got 4 Leaf, consistently incredible. I think now he's on the chamber as well. I think he's just been unbelievable. Kiko switching over to the smokes. I think he's putting in outrageous numbers that maybe the closest I've seen to it is like freeing, but at the same time, I think that Kiko's doing it a little bit more consistent. I would say freeing's been very consistent as well, but I just think that the level of Kiko, the hard carry is so hard, whereas I feel like freeing has had more help on a consistent basis, I guess, whereas Kiko was like, he was the only one for the first 2 best of 3s that was actually standing out for Liquid. Then I got 6, I have less, and again, it's just history based. Just less is just always so good. I feel like he's a rock for the team. I feel like in terms of impact, I have to put him there. I think he's mechanically one of the best players. Speaking of mechanics, we've got Jorgamo. I know again that he hasn't had to shine too much in G2 just because everyone else is stepping up. But I'm just putting him there again, kind of just for history's sakes. I think that I know that everyone's on like new roles and stuff, but I'd wanna still, like, I know the potential is so high for these players. So that's kind of why I'm, especially like Jorgamo less second. That's kind of where these guys are kind of up here. Trent, looking like one of the best players we've seen at the moment, clutching like mad. Util's good, and he's just fragging out. Probably the heaviest I've seen him frag out in the last 2 years. Freeing, we mentioned him a little bit similar to Kiko at the moment. I think that he's fragging out heavy as well. Looking like the best Teo at the moment, especially his drone util on defense. I think is probably the best I've seen, whether it's stopping a rush or whether it's actually just getting info at the right time. Meteor, I think he's having a, like, nowhere near as good as last year, but I can't not put him in my top 10 with just how good he's been in the past. Like, he was one of the big reasons why Genji was so good last year, and I think he's showing still signs of greatness, so I have to put him in the top 10. Safe, probably should be in the top 10 as well, but the thing is, this is such a hard list because I mean, everyone's just a beast, and it just depends on whether you want to go for like recency bias in terms of like the current meta, how they're all playing, or whether you just want to actually rely on history. I've probably got more into like the history side of it. I think Safe is putting up solid numbers, and even with the IGLing role, I think he has so many big names that help him cool that I think he's doing a great job fragging out heavy on pretty much every agent that he plays. Mako, similar thing where it's just like, dude, he's fragging so heavy. He really is. Then we got Chichu. I think that he's having a slow one still, I would say, in terms of EDG and where they were this year. And I guess like Smoggy, Chichu, and Kang is maybe why I've gone for here. Like I have more DRX members. Right, 3. Oh, actually, I guess I have. Ooh. Because I have don't have Hyunmin. Is that right? Oh, there we go. Hyunmin's 14th. Okay. But I have, dude, maybe you can see how hard it is from the top 15. I think, to be honest, I would say that I underrated Hyunmin. I think the reason I put him here was he wasn't as consistent. He had a bad game against Genji. I want to say it was Genji that he had a pretty rough one against, and Freeing was just more consistent. Even though I think he had a good final, and I think if you look at first kills, first deaths, he does incredible. And then Smoggy again, just because history, really, I think he's a beast. But you can see in terms of the amount of people that I have from EDG and DRX that I think it's going to be a hard one between all of them. And maybe I should pick them over Sentinels, but dude, maybe I'm gonna switch this out. I'm gonna go with DRX. I'm switching this one out. So last minute switch on that one. But yeah, there's my top 15. Let me know how I messed out. Let me know who you think should be higher. But again, I just pretty much did it from history based, mixed in with a little bit of recency, especially when you're looking at Kiko Freeing. Do people will always disagree with the top 15 just because it's wherever. It's where, like, do you want to lean more on recency bias? If I leaned more on recency bias, Trent would be higher, Freeing would be higher, Hyunmin would be higher. Honestly, Mako would probably be higher. Zekken would be lower. Les would be lower. Yorgamo would be lower. But again, I just have the history there. All right, let me know in the comments what teams I got wrong, who should be in my top 15, who isn't, and I think that's it. I think we're done, unless I missed anything. You guys can screenshot all of the map stuff that I want as well. Maybe I messed something up with in terms of like who has good map pulls. Let me know as well in the comments if you disagree with anything. And dude, I'm excited for this event. It should be really, really good, especially with the teams having a good amount of time to be able to change a couple of things up. Should be really fun. Should be hard to predict because I would actually look at all of these games, and I think the only game that I would give like a 65-45 would maybe be G2. And because of the time off, I would say it's probably a 60-40. And then this is 50-50. Maybe you would say 55 to EDG if you look at their map pool. Vitality T1, with how T1 are playing, I'd probably give it a 60-40. But again, we said 2 maps that might be in the map pool, the T1 would be looking to take. DRX Sentinel, in my mind, is a 50-50. Maybe even say the DRX are favorites. This should come down to split. But again, I picked Sentinels just because I think that they have the curveball potential of Floating Haven. All right, we up for you long enough. Let me know in the comments. Thank you. Please sub, please comment, please like, and I'll see you tomorrow. Wait, will I see you tomorrow? No, I'll see you in a couple of days. 2 days. All right, peace.